here. On this side, that might be a bit easier. I'm Sam Schwartz, and I'm the consultant to Borough City Ratner and to the Barclays Center. You can grab my seat. Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'll be standing for quite a while. We're delighted to be making this presentation. We're delighted to have this opportunity because to us, transportation demand management is what our business is about. It's getting people out of cars and into public transportation, getting people out of cars and into walking and into bicycles and into healthier forms of transportation. And we've been given the green light to think big with Barclays Center, with Forest City Ratner, and we're very proud of the plan that we're going to present to you. First of all, if you look at the tagline, which is a little hard to read, I'll move this a little bit closer as I turn around. It says 11 trains, one destination. I'd like to change that to a Barclay dozen because we do have 11 subway trains there, and we do have the Long Island Railroad. But nonetheless, we have tremendous number of trains at this location, which makes it a very good location to consider this kind of project. We're going to discuss, this is the agenda for today, we're going to discuss the context and mission of the transportation demand management, and you'll hear me say TDM, that's what I mean, transportation demand management, an overview of the current site transportation. Then we're going to show you transit plans, and with us are the MTA, the people that operate the subways, the buses, the Long Island Railroad, and they've been extremely cooperative. They see an opportunity for a lot of customers to their system, and they want to give the best service to their customers. The parking plans, as Jane mentioned, we're slashing the parking at the arena itself in half. And you'll see throughout, we're discouraging driving. We're promoting transit. And we're doing it a number of different ways, and I'll get into that. Bicycle parking, there will be 400 bike parking spaces at the arena. There'll be cross-marketing. You may wonder, why is cross-marketing up here as a transportation strategy? Well, what cross-marketing does, especially if it's done well with the area businesses, is it gets people into the restaurants on Atlantic Avenue or Flatbush Avenue or in Fort Greene prior to, well before game start time. It gets people to stay in the area and shop and dine in the area post-game. And that spreads out the traffic. So it's a very good transportation measure to reduce the impact of traffic. And then the operational plans with the arena, with John Sparks and others, and the coordination. And we'll have ongoing assessment with reporting back to the community on that. The mission is clear. It is reduce the number of cars coming to the arena. That's our mantra. And we will be discouraging the number of cars. I was asked today by a reporter, what is the message? My message is, don't even think of driving to the arena because we're not providing any additional parking. Half the spaces have been cut back. We're going to encourage sustainable, we're going to maximize transit, and you'll hear about how we maximize transit. And we're encouraging transportation such as walking and bike riding as well to the arena. And the goal is to minimize the effect of those who do drive on the community. So there will be some people that drive no matter what. We recognize that. And what we're trying to do is reduce the impact of those people who drive on the community, and we'll show you the measures. The location. This is the confluence of so many major roads. You've got Flatbush Avenue, Atlantic Avenue, and 4th Avenue, but it's the confluence of so many different subway lines. It is incredibly well served. You've got the Atlantic Avenue and what was called Pacific Street. It's now going to be the Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center Station. And that will include all the platforms, the IRT 2345, the Brighton line, the D, the N, the R. All those lines will be renamed, and the changes are happening now. What does that do? It sends a message instantly to anybody that's looking up how to get to Barclays Center or looking on a subway map. It will say Atlantic Avenue, Barclays Center. We have 9 subway lines that are underground within a block, and many of them, or all of them, are accessible by a stairway that's being built directly into the plaza in front of the arena. We also have the G train, which connects with Queens and Park Slope, just a couple of blocks away at Lafayette Avenue and Fulton Street, and we have also the C train at Lafayette. The A you can change at Hoyt Skirmahorn for the C, or you can walk the few blocks there. Bergen Street post-game might be convenient for people who are getting out of the south side of the arena to walk to the 2 and 3. 150 subway trains, and it's actually, when we look at the schedule, we rounded it off. We counted 162 on the schedule subway trains on the 11 lines that arrive between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the stations I just mentioned. That is the most enviable subway service that you can imagine coming to the arena. And we're looking at the worst case, game start on a weekday between 7 and 8 p.m. And you'll see that we have wonderful service coming to the arena. A big challenge in a lot of sporting events is leaving. And there are 2 big reasons for that. The first that I just mentioned is you usually have very good service, leftover service from the peak hours, so you have good service. The second thing is that prior to a game, people arrive over a spread out period of time. Whereas in the post game, a lot of people leave all at once, so you get a surge. And post game, there's often a reduction in transit service. So you've got those 2 going at once, and that is why we've worked with the MTA, with buses, with the Long Island Railroad, with the subways to work on post-game transportation. Pre-game, we have excellent service, and if we look at the buses, we have 5 Long Island Railroad trains that arrive between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m., and again, we're going to work on the post event for the Long Island Railroad. And we have 135 buses that stop at the arena or nearby the arena between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. and also on 11 bus lines, 11 subway lines, 11 bus lines, and 1 railroad. 23 transit services, but I don't think that tagline's going to go up there. So our plan capitalizes on the accessibility of transit. And over the past year, we've been working with Forest City Ratner, we've been working with the arena management and the agencies, and we've been working on what are the baseline travel patterns. We didn't have an arena in the location, so we had to do a number of surveys. We held focus groups. We interviewed more than 2,200 people that said that they would go to arena events. This was out of a much larger pool, and we narrowed it down to 2,200. About 1,500 said that they would go to Nets games out of that 2,200. So we had a very large sample size, and from that we're able to and providing that information to the subway, to the bus, and the Long Island Railroad to develop transit plans that match the information that we were getting. And in addition, we're doing an extensive marketing program, and there'll be the Barclays Center marketing, there'll be the event marketing, there'll be the MTA marketing, and we're really thrilled that they're including the game to the train to the game and they're including the Barclays Center in that campaign, but there'll also be joint campaigns together. We're discouraging driving. On-site parking has been cut in half. We're establishing a coordinated parking system for those who don't listen to all the warnings about not driving and still come to the arena. We're going to discourage people, but we're going to minimize their impact on the community with a parking system that I'll describe. And we'll develop event day operations plans, because no matter how well you plan, there's always something that happens when you have this many people in this busy an area. Information is influence. And we've conducted surveys. The pie chart to the left shows you prior to education, when we interviewed the 2,200 people and we said, how would you get to the arena? And I know it's a little hard, so I see some of you squinting there, so I'll read off the numbers. 38.6% said they would drive to the arena. 35.2% said they would take the subway. 7.5% said the Long Island Railroad. 2.7% said bus. Walk and bike, 6.2%, and other was 7.3%. Taxi and black car, 2.6%. The transit share at this, when we just presented how you will get there, was 45.4%. Now our goals, I'll get to our goals in a minute, but once we educated people in the location and we showed them maps and explained all the transit services that are offered, the number of people that elected transit jumped from 45.4% to 54.4%, which indicates that education is key. That's a 9% jump over a base of 45%, or 20% more people said that they would use transit once they learned about all the good transit that exists at the arena. And this has been our experience. This has been our experience when we did work for the Devils, in which people said hockey fans would never take public transportation after being used to the Meadowlands. This has been our experience in doubling the transit share with the New York Mets at Citi Field. And this has been our experience with the IKEA shuttle and the IKEA services nearby. So this is really key, and this is driving a good amount of the effort in public education and public campaigns. In the FEIS, the goals are set as 28.3% being the FEIS goal for a weekday, and for a Saturday, 32.0%. When we asked the dead fans, and remember there were 2,200 people that responded that they would likely go to an event. Of the 2,200, about 1,500 said that they would go to Nets games. So of the 1,500 that would go to Nets games, when we asked them on a weekday how they would travel to Nets games, it was 26.8% by automobile, or in this case within the level that was set by the FEIS of 28.3%. On a Saturday, the FEIS goal was 32%. When people were asked how they would get to a Nets game on a Saturday after being educated about the transit, it was 33%, pretty close to the goal. But this isn't enough. We're not banking on this alone and saying, hey, it looks like we're going to meet it with education alone. We're going steps and steps further than that. So this was very encouraging to see these kinds of results based on some extensive surveys that were being done, and but nonetheless, we're going to continue with our efforts. So marketing and education and sharing the information about how to get to the arena by transit will be ubiquitous. It will be on all of the advertisements, it'll be on the websites, it'll be on all the different locations that we've got 9 subway lines, the 2, 3, 4, 5, B, D, and QR. We've got 2 others that are 2 blocks away, the C and G. This will appear, and the Long Island Railroad just across the street. Every single piece of advertisement will contain that information. And you've probably seen some of this already, whether it's a billboard or it's something that you got as an email message or something that you checked up on a website, you will see this. But what you will not see is how to drive to the arena. What you'll not see is where to park at the arena. So we are not incentivizing, we're disincentivizing people from driving. We're using positive reinforcement for people to use public transportation to the arena. And so all of the advertising material put out by Barclays Center, all the advertising material will contain, and including the website and social outlets. And we got a very good idea this morning about Twittering, and we will be tweeting, because while we'll be providing the information in the arena as well, and I'll get into that in a moment, we will be using all social media to try to communicate to people about public transportation to the arena. All emails include the transit message. When you get your ticket to a Barclays Center event and you turn over that ticket, it will show you the 11 trains, one destination, Barclays Center, 2345 BDNQR, and Long Island Railroad. And it'll even have the C and the G on it. It will not have driving. Every single ticket will have transit, and none of the tickets will have driving to the arena. Another way to incentivize transit and disincentivize driving. The website. The website focuses on mass transit and discourages driving. When you go to the website, you will get information on all of the services, the subway, the bus, the Long Island Railroad service. You will even get the MTA's trip planner, and it'll have your destination will already be in there, Barclays Center, and whatever address you put in, you will get the transit location. Now, what's so terrific about this location is when you look at the extent of those 11 subway lines, more than half the people coming to the arena by transit will have a one-seat ride. That is extraordinary. A one-seat ride to the arena for more than half, and you don't get that in very many locations. The Barclays Center identification, it's more than just the fact that people passing by in the subway or people getting off will see the sign, but it's going to be identified on the subway maps. And so you plug in Barclays Center and it will pop up. And the subway station, as I mentioned earlier, if you go out there now, you'll start seeing some of the work that's going on to rename it Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center Subway Station. The MTA sees this as a real opportunity, and you'll hear from them in a moment, and they are working with us on marketing campaigns. We're looking at arena ads on trains and in stations, which will highlight transit. Where the MTA website will promote the arena, and the MTA has agreed to let us, to include the Barclays Center in the train, take the train to the game campaign. And they will have links from the MTA site to arena schedules and event information. And there'll also be coordination of customer service needs and information for all events. Post-game transit, as I said earlier, that pre-game, more than 150 trains are arriving there. Pre-game, people come over a longer period of time. Post-game, you've got a tight game. It's going to the last basket, and it's Game 7 as the Nets win the finals. You'll have a surge out onto all of the subway stations at that point. So it's really post-game that we're working on most heavily with the MTA. At this point, by the way, if you notice, these are signs that were taken yesterday morning, and it's already said Barclays Center on some of the stations. So at this point, I'll turn it over to the MTA, to Judy McLean from New York City Transit, Subways and Buses.